Do you remember that time we went camping in the mountains last summer? That was such a memorable event.
Oh yes, I'll never forget that. It was an amazing experience. The scenery was breathtaking.
Absolutely. I've never seen such beautiful mountains before. And remember the campfire we had? We roasted marshmallows and made s'mores.
Yes, that was so much fun. I loved sitting around the fire, telling stories and laughing with everyone. And remember when we stargazed at night? The sky was filled with so many stars, it was magical.
It definitely was. And how about the hike we took to the waterfall? It was a bit challenging, but totally worth it when we saw the stunning waterfall cascading down the rocks.
I agree. It was a bit of a trek, but the view was absolutely worth it. I also remember the sound of the waterfall, it was so soothing and refreshing.
Yes, it was such a refreshing experience. And do you remember when we spotted a deer on one of our hikes? It was such a special moment.
Oh yes. I remember we all froze and watched the deer gracefully move through the trees. It was a rare sighting and made the trip even more memorable.
Definitely. It's those little unexpected moments that make a trip memorable. And how can we forget the bonfire we had on our last night? We sang songs and danced around the fire.
Yes, that was a highlight of the trip for me. I remember we had a great time bonding with our friends around the bonfire, creating lasting memories.
Absolutely. That trip brought us all closer together. I also remember the delicious meals we cooked over the campfire. The smell of the grilled food still makes my mouth water.
Yes, the food was amazing. We had grilled sausages, corn on the cob, and roasted vegetables. It was such a treat to enjoy food cooked in the great outdoors.
It definitely was. And let's not forget about the starlit nights we spent in our tents, listening to the sounds of nature and feeling the crisp mountain air.
Yes, that was so peaceful and relaxing. I loved falling asleep to the sounds of crickets and the rustling of leaves. It was a truly unique experience.
It definitely was. That trip holds a special place in my heart. It was one of the most memorable events of my life.
Mine too. I'm so glad we got to experience it together. It's a trip I'll cherish forever.
Me too. I'll always remember the fun times, the beautiful scenery, and the amazing memories we created. It was a trip of a lifetime.
Agreed. It was a trip that will always bring a smile to my face whenever I think about it. I'm so grateful we got to share that experience.
Me too. It was definitely a trip to remember. I can't wait for our next adventure together.
Absolutely. Let's plan another trip soon and create more unforgettable memories.
Sounds like a plan. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for reminiscing about this memorable event with me.
Thank you too. It was a great conversation. Let's do this again sometime. It was a pleasure talking about our camping trip in the mountains. It's a memory I'll always treasure.
Definitely. I had a great time too. Thanks for practicing English with me and sharing in the memories. Let's catch up again soon.
Sounds good. Take care and see you soon.
You too. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hey, remember that time we went camping last summer? It was such a memorable event.
Oh, absolutely. That was an unforgettable experience. The whole trip was so much fun.
Yeah, it was. I remember we drove to the national park early in the morning and set up our tents by the lake.
Right. The weather was perfect, and the scenery was breathtaking. I couldn't believe how beautiful it was.
And do you remember when we went hiking? We saw so many animals and plants we'd never seen before.
Yes, I do. It was like being in a nature documentary. I was amazed by the diversity of the wildlife and the lush greenery of the forest.
And remember when we built a bonfire and roasted marshmallows for s'mores? That was so much fun.
Oh, yes. Sitting around the fire, sharing stories and laughing together was one of the highlights of the trip.
It definitely was. And do you remember when we stargazed at night? The sky was so clear, and we saw so many shooting stars.
It was magical. I'll never forget lying on the ground, looking up at the sky, and making wishes on shooting stars. It was such a special moment.
Agreed. It was a night to remember. And speaking of memorable, do you remember when we got caught in that unexpected rainstorm?
Oh, yes. That was quite an adventure. We had to quickly pack up our campsite and take shelter in the car until the rain stopped.
I'll never forget how soaked we were when we finally made it back to the car. But despite the rain, we still managed to have a good time.
That's true. It just added to the memories of the trip. We laughed so hard about it afterward.
Yeah, it was definitely an unexpected twist, but it made the trip even more memorable. I'll always remember that camping trip.
Me too. It was such a special time spent with good friends, surrounded by nature and creating memories that will last a lifetime.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for that memorable event. It's a trip I'll cherish forever.
Same here. It was a truly unforgettable experience. We need to plan another camping trip soon.
Definitely. I'm already looking forward to our next adventure in the great outdoors.
Me too. I can't wait to make more unforgettable memories with you and our friends.
Sounds like a plan. Let's start planning our next camping trip soon.
Absolutely. Count me in. It's going to be another epic adventure. Hey Mark, guess what happened to me last weekend?
What's up, Sarah? You sound excited. Tell me all about it.
Well, I went on a hiking trip with my family to the nearby forest. It was a beautiful day, and we were all excited to explore nature.
That sounds like a lot of fun. I love hiking too. What happened during the trip?
We were walking along the trail, enjoying the sights and sounds of the forest when we suddenly heard rustling in the bushes. We stopped and looked around to see what it was.
Oh no, was it a wild animal?
Yes, it was a bear. We were all startled and froze in our tracks. The bear was just a few feet away from us.
Wow, that must have been scary. What did you do?
We slowly backed away, making sure not to make any sudden movements. We didn't want to provoke the bear. It looked at us for a moment, and then it turned and walked away into the woods.
Phew, that's a relief. I'm glad you all stayed calm and knew how to handle the situation.
Yes, it was definitely a moment we won't forget. We continued our hike, but with extra caution after that encounter.
I can imagine. It's not every day you come face to face with a bear in the wild.
No, it's not. It was an adrenaline-pumping experience for sure. But despite the initial scare, it made our hiking trip even more memorable.
I can only imagine. It's not every day you have such an exciting encounter with wildlife.
Exactly. It's a story we'll be telling for years to come. It was a great bonding experience for my family too, as we relied on each other to stay calm and handle the situation.
That's true. Shared experiences like this can create lasting memories and strengthen relationships.
Definitely. And it's a reminder to always respect nature and be prepared when venturing into the wilderness.
Absolutely. Safety should always be a priority when exploring the outdoors. I'm glad you and your family knew what to do in that situation.
Yes, it was a valuable lesson learned. We're now even more cautious during our hikes and make sure to follow all safety guidelines.
That's great. It's important to learn from such experiences and take precautions in the future.
Absolutely. So, that's my memorable event from last weekend. It was definitely an adventure I won't forget anytime soon.
I can imagine. Thanks for sharing your story, Sarah. It's always fun to hear about exciting experiences like this.
You're welcome. It was great to relive the moment while telling you about it.
Well, I'm glad you and your family are safe, and that it turned into a memorable experience. I'll make sure to be extra cautious on my next hike too.
Sounds like a plan. It's always better to be safe than sorry. Happy hiking!
Thanks, Sarah. Happy hiking to you too. Take care and see you soon.
You too, Mark. See you later.